You are now entering the Honeysuckle Podcast.
Starting with a little bit on your background and where you came from and how you kind of like your whole little early beginnings and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It'd be dope for
Yeah.
the people to kind of learn about that. And
So I had the privilege of living my life back and forth between here and between LA and Beirut, Lebanon, in the Middle East. And I spent my teenage years over there. I learned how to run my dad's supermarket from the age of 13 to just before I turned 18. I grew up in a family business in Lebanon. I was very cultured. I had two older brothers that were already out here in LA. They've been curious into growing and selling weed their entire lives. So I grew up with two role models that were in the weed industry, and they paved the way for me. They showed me a lot of the do's and don'ts. But when I decided to move to LA when I turned 18, my brothers had two dispensaries at the time, and I came here. That two dispensaries, just opened up a little hydro shop. It was 1,000 square foot hydro shop, and as soon as I started helping them, within a month and a half, the dispensaries got raided, the grows got raided. So I watched my brothers lose everything, and I had no choice. I mean, I was applying for jobs everywhere. Coming from Lebanon, I applied for jobs at fucking Walmart to Six Flags. And when I found my place in the hydro shop, I was just a bag boy. I didn't know anything then, so that was like my intro to the industry. I ran a 1,000 square foot hydro shop. From being a bag boy to leading that 9 years, day in and day out. I did that, and I spoke to growers every day. I would go through the trials and tribulations with other growers while I was growing, and I turned that 1,000 square foot shop into a 26,000 square foot store, like a superstore. And that's kind of like my foundation to the industry. That's how I came into it.
well, that right there, you guys could still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that right there is like, man, that's like the super. What a story, man! That's like the super introduction to the game right there. I mean, already having family, you know what I mean, in it, and just seeing the ups and downs. Man, that's already an amazing adventure and story right there in itself. And then coming from another country, Beirut, which is like a whole nother world, and
Yeah.
having to just come in and adapt to LA and but that's dope that you had family that was able to kind of like tap you in and then be a part of their journey and what that they already had going.
Yeah, and mind you,
And
I'm the first of an era that didn't have to look over its shoulder. Your era always had to look over its shoulder. You guys always had to be careful what you do. I didn't have to. That's my privilege, I guess, in some sense.
Indeed. And then, I mean, I imagine also the grow store, that's just like being immersed in that culture of I know how grow stores are, and it's almost like its own culture in there too, like talking to growers every day and just like problem solving and recommending the right products and everything, and just being on the pulse like that. It's like that in itself is just like such like a college degree in the game right there in itself, honestly.
You're so right on that. Being able to see the evolution of all the technology, from the lighting to the nutrients to the growing, it's been awesome. It's been awesome.
Man, that's amazing right there. Yeah, hell yeah, man. So then from there, after doing like the grow store and helping build that business up and being like an integral part of that, and being more and more immersed in the culture, and then seeing what your brothers are doing, then from that point, like when did you start to like transition into like getting into the game more yourself and stuff like that?
While I was growing, while I was at the hydro shop, I was always growing. Whether it started off like 4 lights, in 12, 20, but I started branding really in 2016.
Okay, dope.
I started branding my flower, but what really triggered it for me was in 2018 when I went to Spain to Cannabis for the first time, and I got to go with a lot of OGs in the game. and I learned so much, and I came back so motivated. So in 2020, early 2018, I'd kicked off my brand, and it kind of it 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 went to a whole nother level because I came back with a whole nother motivation. You know, that I went from just being a dude that grew really good flower to I got known for the hash hole. You know, that
Yeah.
was that Spain inspired for me. So it's just
Yeah.
started going on a whole nother level. Not to ramble
I
off,
mean,
I'm sure you'll ask about that.
no, I mean that's all super relevant. I mean the hash hole has become like, a household name now, and it's like literally you were one of those pioneers that really did put it down for the culture and make it like more of a common thing for people to talk about and smoke, and just bringing it to the culture in more of a like, digestible way for everybody. It's like people
Yep.
back in the day in Europe, like they've always been mixing hash and either tobacco and weed and stuff like that. But here in the United States, people really weren't doing that as much. It was obviously small little pockets, but you definitely were brought it to, the masses there, to where like people really like, were able to be like, damn, I want to try that and try those and so forth,
Yeah. Yep. It's been an honor, bro. It's
Man,
what
so
a great
dope.
what a great
I mean,
journey.
yeah, no, it's such an awesome story and journey. Give me 1 second. I just have to let somebody in and do something. But
And
Roddy, if you want to pick up for a quick second and just kind of like you can ask
do
for
your
a couple
thing.
questions while I just do this. Well, it's going to take 1 second.
Do your thing. I can't hear you. I think you're on mute. Still can't hear you.
Okay, yeah, no, I had like too many tabs and I couldn't find the.
You're fine.
Are you in the Bay now or in LA?
I'm in LA.
Okay. Cool. So let's see. Where did your nickname Fidel come from?
Awesome. I love this one. So when I ran the hydro shop, I got known as Fidel. It was my own crown name, but people started calling me Fidel Hydro over time because I was at the hydro shop. It was my Instagram name. So I was sitting at the hydro shop one day, and this is exactly how it went down. I wanted a cool alias. I looked up to a basketball player named Kevin Durant at the time, and he has a Instagram name, Easy Money Sniper. It's like a real smooth criminal name, you know. So he's a famous basketball player, but his Instagram name is Easy Money Sniper. So I crowned myself Fidel Hydro because I was just shooting the shit. I'm like, what's gonna be my name? I'm like Fidel Castro, Fidel Hydro, at the hydro store. No, so that stuck with me. When I decided to brand it, I knew I couldn't do Fidel Hydro. It's cool, but it's like I'm trying to gain the world, not just who's in the circle. And I was like Fidels, simple 5 letters, and that's how Fidel Hydro came about, and that's how Fidels came about.
That's dope right there. That's super dope right there. No, that's definitely an iconic name right there, and it's definitely it's become like, and within the cannabis industry, that's become a name that's just like synonymous with just tackle and quality and the culture, and people have been seeing it everywhere, and it's like you can't go anywhere and people aren't going to know about Fidels at this point, you know what I mean, which is super dope.
Thank you, OG. I appreciate that.
Man, you know what I know? It's so yeah, let's see. So what would we say here? And then what would you say like for hash holes and stuff like that? Like where do you see that, like as you're watching like the hash and rosin sort of culture grow and stuff like that? What are your thoughts about like where it's going and stuff? And like, I mean, it is like a unique time right now. Like I think rosin and obviously hash holes and everything are like becoming like a real crossover thing, and more people obviously are like experiencing that, right?
Yeah, it's awesome seeing what it's coming into. You know, every brand will have its own hash hole eventually, or donut, whatever they call it. It's triggering. Like we're at a time where hash is the best it's ever been. Flowers is the best it's ever been. You know, people are there's so many tastemakers out there now. It's becoming a thing where all these tastemakers, these growers, these consumers, and these rollers are all chasing a high in some sense, and it's triggering so much amongst people that I see it getting a lot more competitive. But I do see a lot more companies coming out with just doing hash rolls, and it's just a level that everyone's lungs graduate to. You know, it's just everyone's getting to that level. To me, it's almost like I went from being I went from feeling salty in some sense early on, not realizing like it's not just me, it's bigger than me, to now it's more almost like I'm humble about it, because I've paved the way for a category for everybody in this industry. It was gonna it might have happened with or without me, but where I took it and how quick things scaled up, it made people realize that it's a really lucrative business. It's the right way of consuming hash and flower together in some sense, and I'm just fucking happy I get to provide for so many people. You know, like I get to provide for my competitors in some sense too. You know, like everybody's just driven the game up and going harder because of the hash roll category.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like an evolution of the consumer's palate as we watch it. You know, consumers are evolving and their tastes, you know, are evolving and stuff like that. And hash rolls was definitely, as we know, hash and rosin are just some of the purest forms that you can consume cannabis. So like that really like ups the game. I mean, you know, when you combine the hash with the flower, it just is like the ultimate marriage of flavor and like quality if it's the right product. You know what I mean? And you did. It was like within a small window of time, you were able to spark like that phenomena, you know what I mean, pretty quickly, and like make everybody like, oh shit, like realize, oh, I got to do a hash roll too, and this and that.
Yep.
You know? And it's and I know that it's also sparked a ton of opportunity and opened so many doors for you. So it's like, even if there is a ton of brands doing it and everything like that, it's like you're ultimately still going to be, it's going to point back to you in that regard as like kind of one of the originals who really brought it to the game in that way, in that manner. And I know you do tons of collabs, and you got a lot of dope stuff in the works, I'm sure too. What would you say about, what was your latest collab with Carrots? How did that come about? And that seemed like a super exciting little project that you guys did right there.
The Carrots collab was awesome. It was my I guess it's my first go at collaborating with a company outside of our industry, and to take a clothing company that has a collab with Crocs and fucking Bugs Bunny and Lego and all this, and to be able to dabble in the cannabis industry with them and do it differently than anyone's ever done in our industry, it was an honor. But what we did is we put together these boxes. We did 500 limited boxes that had a 3D printed carrot, which is like a toy, and you open the top of the carrot, there's an original hash roll inside it. We gave the consumers basically an amazingly paired hash roll in a figurine that exists in their living room forever. But we didn't stop there. We gave them a bunch of clothes that I took pride in making, because I got to curate every bit of it, from the cut and sew of the pattern, which is it's our own winter collection pattern that we did. So we have our own sweats that are true to our brand. We have our own hoodie that's true to our brand. They're made out of 50% cotton and 50% bamboo. We dyed them all in house in LA with our own orange. So everything that we touch, it's like it's our own version of it. You know, I didn't just take an orange hoodie that was out there and print it on it. You know, I tried to go above and beyond, and I hope that I think people saw that too. But we gave them the hoodie, the sweats, a limited edition T-shirt, a headband that we did a collaboration with Carrots and Buff. Gibbets for the Crocs, so it's these really cool little animations that go on the Crocs. There's a hash roll image that goes on it, so little details like that. But we gave the consumer all that plus half an ounce of flour, and it was a fucking hit. Like, it opened so many doors for me. It triggered. It was a wow moment for me. You know, to have so many people write about it and talk about it, and I still feel like it's making a banging to this day, because it's only been a couple months since we dropped it, and it's been amazing. Like it's a big box.
I feel like, yeah, that was a big collab, you know what I mean? And like you say, just an intersection of of different brands like that are different. And yeah, I was definitely making waves in the industry, and I've seen tons of people rocking the suit and pulling out the carrot with the hash hole and everything, and just the attention to detail in that project. And I mean, I could tell you're like me in that regard of just like, or detail orientated, and just love all the little layers to the capsule, you know what I mean? And that's what people nowadays, I think, appreciate and really get into, you know what I mean? You have to have like some complexity, because people are complex beings nowadays in a way. So like you guys were able to achieve that, like, man, high quality, and just super attention to different all the different details, and just, man, it was really an awesome collab right there. Congratulations. And I could see how that would just open up mad doors for a ton of other shit, for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a crossover moment in some sense, like it sets the bar. I just want to go harder on the next one, which we did, and then I just want to go harder on the next one, which I'm gonna do.
Exactly. No, that's so sick. How long from like start to finish would you say something like that took you guys? Because I know that's like a pretty involved thing right there, when you get into cut and sew and like manufacturing basically a toy, which was the plastic carrot that opened up that held the hash hole and stuff. And
I'll be honest with you, like it took a year and a half, and every part of the project was prolonged for its particular reasons, but it all came out perfect in the end. Some like for us to get the 3D printed carrot to be done right, that was a challenge of its own, and then to do all this in the middle of the pandemic, to pull all of it off. I had every excuses, from ports being closed to Chinese New Year's. Everything. You learn a lot in the process. What's amazing though, I was so invested in it, like within me, and financially, I wanted to put every bit of it out the right way. So I held off numerous times until I felt like it was right. It's almost like dropping an album. I wanted to get the timing of it right.
Yeah, no, it feels like you guys really didn't spare any expense with that project. That was like definitely a next level, like fully well-rounded, full encompassing everything you were going for right there. So no, that was really.
Between us, you can even put this out there, but like I spent over $150,000 on this project alone. Yeah, I could go put down payment on the house, but it's like, I'm just so for this,
But this is the thing in the industry we're in, and for a passion brand like what you are, because you are passionate about your brand. I can see it, and people can tell, like, I recognize it in my, within my own self. Like, I see that you're really passionate about. So it's like, for you, it's like not, you don't really wouldn't spare an expense. If it cost $200,000, you probably would have spent that. You know what I mean? It's honestly this right here, that investment, the $150,000 was basically $1 million or $2 million worth of publicity and just energy towards your brand. Honestly, you literally invested in yourself, and it just took everything to the next, it's taking stuff to the next level. So, that was like the best 150 you spent in a way, you know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, so that's very smart, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's awesome. Sometimes you just can't measure the ROI in numbers. It comes in so many other formats, and it's great and shows.
So that being said, like, I know this, being an entrepreneur and trying to build your brand, and all the hurdles that you come up against, and all the stuff that you have to deal with as an entrepreneur. How, what are some of the advice you would give people in that regard? Because some people, could be short-sighted when it comes to building a brand, or not understand the full, like, what it really takes as an entrepreneur to get up and motivate yourself every day. Like, what are some of the insights or advice you would give to other young entrepreneurs, do you think, like, in that way?
No, I have a lot of great advice, and some of the gems that I could drop people with is to learn to hear deals out or projects out, but not to say yes to them right away. It's really easy for us to it's really easy for us to be the person that we were 2-3 years ago, being eager to say yes to deals that we would have said 2-3 years ago. But you really got to think of who you're going to be 2, 3, or 5 years from now. You know, that's the sort of deal you're making. So whether it comes to cultivation projects, to partnerships, whatever it is, you know, I always tell people, stick to your own guns. You don't need anybody else but you and your team. You don't need to take your hands off the steering wheel per se. Just stick to your guns. Build it slow, and you could build it the right way. I mean, it's just my brand's a prime example of it. You know, I learned to say no to so many deals I would have said yes to. So many deals that would have put money in my pocket, but maybe tarnished my brand or my vision, and not been able to execute it how I want it to. You know, and I have the privilege of still having both my hands on the steering wheel, and nobody else is. That's the most important thing, to always keep it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely relate right there with everything you said, and I mean, I've always found too, just going back to like what you said about just like waiting it out and hearing deals out and kind of like not saying yes right away. A lot of these deals kind of just end up, you give it enough time and people kind of reveal their hand and they kind of play themselves out the deals to where you kind of end up seeing like, damn, you know, this is what I was going to get into. You get people kind of reveal themselves and you're like, yeah, all right, you know, and you're just like thankful that you kind of waited, and then and just all that energy you just put in believing into yourself and your own vision, it just strengthens that, I feel like, in a way. So it's like you just keep kind of going hard for what you're going to do, regardless of what anybody else is doing or depending on anybody else. Like you're just like going in on your own and just like, man, you, with or without you guys, I'm going to do this, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's dope. Yeah, for sure. So I know you just took on another huge project with your with a big, huge new cultivation. How is that going, and what could you tell us a little bit about that, maybe?
It's going great. You know, I'm over the hard part of it already. I had the pleasure of building out like one of the most state-of-the-art facilities. It took me 6 months to do it, and I did it with no general contractor. It's a large project. It was an $11 million project. I put my fucking heart and soul and everything I have into it. But we've been running for 8 months now, and we hit the ground running. There was a lot of challenges early on. You know, I have 767 flowering lights. So I got to pull down like clockwork. Every 10 days, 250, 300 pounds are coming down, you know, and it's just you when you realize how big of a ship you've built and how it needs to be fine-tuned and work like clockwork, it never stops. You know, I employ so many people, and that's been a challenge in itself. But being able to scale up my genetics, being able to pheno hunt every 10 days has been the fun part of it. You know, I'm just trying to keep it fun as much as I can. I have the privilege of growing almost 1,000 plants in each flowering room, and I squeeze in like new seeds every run. That's what keeps it exciting for me. Breeding, hunting, looking for the new shit, and I get to do it faster than I've ever been able to, faster than most people can do. And yeah, it's just I wake up for that, and I wake up for all the people that I employ, and it's honestly a fucking privilege.
I know, like obviously, like HR, like human resources, and just managing people and all the different, you know, complexities of that. That's a big deal, and like super, you know, can be super stressful. So, and I can imagine that's like a major undertaking, you know, and definitely that's like, man, you know, respect for that, because I know how hard it is to, like, you know, managing and grow and like dealing with people and all the different unexpected things that you have coming on all the time. Every day it's something new, and it's like a 24-hour job almost, basically, nonstop, pretty much, you know what I mean? And then but like always, like you say, you know, for like breeders and cultivators like us, it's like the most exciting part is just like looking forward to like, oh, what's this seed gonna come out and bring now this time? So like finding the new genetics is like the little the pot at the end of the rainbow, or
Yeah.
the carrot on the end of the stick, right?
Yeah.
So you're just like chasing like the next little thing, like, oh damn, what's this gonna be? So that's super dope, That's dope, man. Yeah. So what are some of the new? Do you have some new genetics that, like, certain things that you're super excited about, like that you're going to be bringing to the world and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Anything in particular that you want to speak on?
Yeah, like the next wave of genetics that I have are runs times jealousy and runs times lamello crosses. Ones
Nice.
that I've bred, ones that I've had my friends breed, but I'm hunting through all those, and I'm hunting through a bunch of different selections of seeds that I brought over from Spain for my last trip to Spain. I'm really excited about how Europe breeds and how they're one-on-one with their plants. You know how over here everything's kind of at scale. Over there everything's 2 to 10, 12 lights. They're really one-on-one with their plants. They give a fuck about genetics. They give a fuck about how things grow. And they've been breeding in Spain, Barcelona specifically. They've been breeding like fucking crazy, and the genetics that I came across on this last trip just got me so excited, from sours to fruity and like just different chirpy smelling strains. I'm so eager. I met people from the south of France that are like small time growers that showed me bags of flour that shat on everything I've ever seen in this world. So I admire the people from Europe and how much care they put into it. And I just came back with so much beans on top of everything I've had. So I'm excited for that. Aside from that, I have my own genetics that I bred. So I'm hunting through peach tart. I'm hunting through Tropicana grape cake and a few other strains as well. So just excited about it. I'm trying to just keep going. I don't want to stop breeding, because that's kind of it motivates me a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure you got. I know you probably got just like a huge wave of stuff. It's almost hard to put into words the amount of things that are going to be coming from Fidels in 2023 and 2024. It's just going to be a lot of new things coming that everybody could be excited about. I'm sure it's just like with the seed game and genetics, it's endless, and a lot of the small growers are the people that I'm, always in the past. For me, it was always like the dude who had 1 light, 2 light little closet. That was like always the most fire as shit. And you'd be like, oh, can I get more? And he's like, nope, all I got is an 1/8 or a 1/4 for you, or a zip or whatever. And you're like, oh, I need more of that. It's like, and then
Those are the
so,
ones.
those are the kind of the ones. And then so how for you, like with your cultivation and what you're doing now, how do you balance that? Like, I know, because you are a boutique brand and you are about boutique flower and stuff like that. How has it been, like, dealing with scale and trying to maintain, like, your level of boutiqueness and stuff like that? Have you guys been able to slowly achieve, like, making sure like your flower is like still on the next level and up to your standards and stuff? How's that been going? Is that like
It's been challenging, to say the least, but we're doing it. The hardest part of what I did with this new cultivation facility was scaling up my practices that I've been known for on a small batch. So not settling with the fact that everyone in this industry that's growing at the scale that I am is using salts. I want to use liquids. I like liquids. I like the results of how flower comes out with liquids. Not changing the fact that I have so many rooms, so many plants, and I'm on drip emitters, and most people wouldn't feed tea brews, but yet I still go through the trouble of doing tea brews and feeding that to my plants. I still go through the trouble of hand mixing my cocoa if I need to, because I grow in cocoa. I don't grow in rockwool, how most people grow at scale. So I've been able to scale up all our practices to the best of their abilities, and it shows. It shows that you can grow fucking quality flower at scale. But with that, it also comes product allocation. You don't want to flood your own brand with a couple of the same strains, and when you're growing when you have such a big business with a cultivation facility this big, you really want to be able to feel the need of bulk buyers and still fulfill your brand. So I've been able to put a lot of genetics per room, and I have like a cool strategic plan. You know, it's I harvest this, when I harvest this product allocation, how many pounds are going to prepackaged Fidels, how many pounds are going into hash rolls, how many pounds are going into this collab, and how much is going bulk. So I've been able to fine tune it pretty well, you know.
That's dope. That's dope. I mean, people don't realize just how many moving pieces are in this industry, and especially with like a multi kind of faceted brand such as yours. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, people don't understand the amount of just, you know, different little moving parts. It's just like next level, honestly. It's a lot of
There's
stuff, and
so much to it.
especially like trying to scale. Like how has it been for you, like as a sole proprietor, an entrepreneur trying to scale your brand? I know, and like we talked about this earlier about like making the right choices and kind of holding out for the right deals and the right partners. Like, I mean, I know, at this point you do have a couple partners on certain things and stuff like that. And like, how has it been like scaling? What like advice would you give about like trying to scale your brand? Because a lot of people get to a certain point and they're trying to like reach that next level. Do you have any like tips on that or any insight that you would like tell people? Because a lot of people reach that certain point and don't go beyond it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you've been able to kind of break the ceiling and kind of keep growing as a brand, you know?
I think the main goal is to not tarnish the brand's name, you know, not do anything business wise or make any business decisions that would affect the impression of your brand on the consumer. So not putting something in packaging that doesn't meet your criteria. Make sure, like for me, the QC is more strict than it's ever been. You know, I only have one first impression to every Stizzy store I'm about to get into next month. You know, I can't just put any bullshit into my jars. I have to wow them. I have to wow the consumer. If I don't do that, then I might not get a second chance. That's like my main thing. I tell people, it's take that same motto of saying no to certain deals and saying no to certain product that's going in your packaging. Being able to be smart and have the wit of not making money off of the consumer, but giving the consumer what they want, because that's longevity to me.
100%. I agree with you with that. And yeah, that's definitely one of the main keys in this game. And a lot of people just are short-sighted and just want that quick buck, and it ends up, playing out pretty quickly. So that's definitely some great insight there. So what else could like the consumer and the public, what should we be aware of and looking for coming from Fidels in 2023? Is there any like projects you would like to announce or highlight, or other things that you want people to be aware of, like coming soon, or big events or anything else you're excited about coming up?
Just I have a lot of like cool hash hole collaborations. Like I'm working with Talking Terps. They're a brand in this in our space that didn't into the cannabis side of things, and now we've started to from hash holes, and we're going to start working on flower, and hopefully we could dibble and dabble in clothing together too. So it's kind of like my goals for this year are have no roof, have no ceiling on it. I want to work with fucking kids, but I don't know if it'll happen this year. I want to work with the best of the best of everyone, and I don't think anything is far-fetched. We have a lot of cool genetics coming. I have this box called Fidel's Head Stash Box, where I get to give the consumer 4 different phenos of flavors that we've hunted, and it comes in like an ounce box. So it's 4 7-gram jars that make up 4 different flavors of pheno hunted flavors by us, and they're all keepers. So I'm scaling that up to the masses. Just trying to get into, like, I have a lot of shops that want to carry Fidel. So I'm just getting into these chains of stores and dropping my flower to the masses. I really have so much. As much as I feel like I've won over the Southern California market, I have to take advantage of all of California. I'm gonna stretch my arms out and just go shake hands with every bud tender, smoke at everybody, win over every bud tender. And once I've got California on lock, I want to focus on other states.
Definitely. That sounds like it is. I mean, first it's like mastering, what you have here in your backyard, and then kind of expanding beyond that once you kind of have this all the way locked down, you know what I mean? So yeah. Instead of like spreading yourself too thin too early on, right, and taking some of the momentum out of California, it's like make sure to kind of like have California unlock and then be able to like expand at that point, right?
Yeah. I don't know how people do it, man. I'm doing so much, and I know everything it takes just to do what I'm doing. So I'm honestly smart enough to say no to other things. I've been tossed so many deals from fucking Florida to Oklahoma to all these other states that are popping up, but I just want to mastering California is my goal. Once I make it here, I'm sure I'll make it anywhere.
Exactly. No, that sounds like the good model right there for sure. Definitely, man. Hell yeah. So, Ronit, I was just going to ask you, what are you thinking? How long of an article do you want to have, or what were you thinking time was? Because me and him, we could talk all day. I know he's got a schedule, and what do you? It's kind of up to you, because I think we could keep. I could obviously like I said, we could go on forever with this too, like as far as that goes. So it's up to you, like where you feel like.
Well, I actually have a couple, like two questions.
Okay, perfect.
Feel comfortable and shoot them over. Let's do it. Let's tell them.
Okay. And the article will be like 3 pages. We already scanned some of the articles actually, so it's like there's like a cool design to it. So I mean, from my perspective, just having seen so many different founders and brand owners, I feel like you too, Pelly, but like since this is the Fidel interview, like I feel like your look, your personality, that everything just goes perfectly to where it's like you are 1,000% like authentic brand. And I just wonder, like, do you like meditate, or do you just like, how do you tune into yourself, and like why is it so cohesive, would you say, like your whole like persona and how it is expressed in your brand?
I wish I meditated, right? I wish I had that. I wish I had that inner sanity. I'm not as perfect as it seems, but I do credit a lot of this just to being dedicated to the craft. I'm dedicated to everything this fucking community has. With me, my team, my family, everybody's like for one goal for Fidels. And my goal is to just be a brand that's like more like, when I say legacy brand, I want to live longer than one lifetime. How do they speak about your brand for lifetimes to come, is to fucking make an impact so deep in this lifetime that they speak about it for the next 200-300 years. That's how you live 200-300 years. So I'm honestly just so committed to this brand, like the branding and the industry. I don't see it going any other which way. I don't see myself like losing sight. I don't see anything changing in it. Just building, getting more creative, inspiring more people. That's. I hope that answered it.
Yeah, for sure. Just that like laser.
I'm passionate. I'm so passionate.
It's everything that's brought you to this point too. It's like you're like basically not. What else are you gonna do? It's all This is like what we've been living and breathing for so long. So.
If you think about it, like I'm sure you guys feel that. I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I feel this way. I don't really like, as much as I know people outside this industry, I don't know people outside this industry. I'm still like, all my friends are within this industry. Everything I speak about is weed. Everything I talk about is weed, and that's just how it is. But more and more, we're getting the world to know about this.
So, what is your favorite thing about cannabis then, like personally?
I love the flavors. I love that there's just so many so many categories of flavors. I truly believe that it's so untapped yet. Like I can't wait till the day that we have strictly like multiple strawberry phenos and pineapple phenos and all these different grapes and the like naturally tasting cannabis. That's what I look for. I hope. Did I veer off in the question at all?
No, that was great.
Yeah.
And then I guess this one's for both of you. Like, what are you guys anticipating when, federal legalization comes around? Is this just going to be scale harder, more, or like, what do you think in that regard?
Exporting. I think exporting is going to change the game. So federal legalization might trigger that whole, like how fruits are more popular from particular states. I think California in specific, we're going to be popular for cannabis, how we always been. So exporting will be a thing to other states and other countries. I'm really looking forward to that. I see that as changing the game for everybody for the better.
What about you, Joseph?
As far as Yeah, I mean, exporting is definitely going to be one of those things to where whether it's, different states or even internationally, you know what I mean? That is going to be definitely another level of it, for sure. Like we should maybe talk a little bit about you didn't ask anything about his brothers and stuff, right? And just tying that in a little bit about the family and stuff too. It'd be good to like maybe if you want to speak on your bros and just how like you talked about earlier, they're like a support system and they're all kind of in it. You want to also kind of like incorporate them into the article a little bit.
So I have two older brothers that are in this industry. They have their own brand. My middle brother Serge has a brand called Serge Cannabis. He's also known for founding the Cookies Maywood location and the Fiore brand. And my eldest brother Aram, he has a brand called Gas No Breaks. What's cool is like all of us exist in our own lanes. Like we will help out one another and we'll collab with one another when need be. But it's dope because you seldom hear of family doing this together, and when you do, you seldom hear of them each having their own lane and having their own brand. So that in itself is unique to me. My brothers have been through a lot, from fucking being raided in their shops to their grows to going to jail. So it's been a privilege having an example showing you that they could succeed and showing you what failure looks like and succeeding after failure. It's great because I didn't have to go through those faults. It's a shortcut for me in many senses.
Well, like true resilience, and especially in this industry that's so cutthroat, so hard to, there's a lot of ups and downs and potholes, so to speak. And then for them to just kind of like have learn that lesson from them in that sense of just like to be able to just keep going and resilience and just like pushing through. And yeah, both really dope guys too, for sure. Good guys.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
Jamie had on here a question. I don't know. She said, or Jake said, you might want to speak to, and I don't know if this is like totally off topic, but that it's the 100th anniversary of the end of the Armenian genocide. And he said, okay, so share with us, your
Yeah, that's so awesome. That's like the most randomest thing, but it puts a smile on my face that we're bringing it up here. I'm Lebanese Armenian. My last name is Damirdjian. I'm as Armenian as it gets. To speak about the genocide in 1915, there was over 1.5 million Armenians that were massacred over a small period of time, and that happened in Armenia and in Turkey, which is nowadays Turkey. But I come from a very cultured background, so I've learned about this throughout time. I've learned about the history of the Armenians throughout time. It's something that hasn't been acknowledged throughout the world. So to this day, Armenians are like trying to put up a fight and having the genocide acknowledged. So it's significant that it's been such a long time and no action's been taken. But to me, it's like I'm a part of a new generation that brings awareness to it. But there's so much other powers beyond this that you can't really do much but bring awareness to it. It's a great part of my past. It's the reason why my family ended up in Lebanon. A lot of people that made it out of the genocide trickled out to Canada, to America, to Lebanon, and other neighboring countries like Syria. That's how I made it to Lebanon. My great grandma passed away like just a few years ago, but she was 105. She lived like throughout the genocide too. It's crazy to hear stories from her.
Wow.
From those times.
105.
105, and her husband lived to 107.
That's amazing.
Yeah. They definitely were not smoking this good fish though.
Did she smoke?
No, she didn't smoke. My grandpa did though. He smoked cigarettes, and he had this thing where he would drink at least one beer a day. He would take fish oil and chew his food really well. So I tried to dissect whatever I could from those old habits to see if I could pick up anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, it was deeper than all that, but yeah.
No, that's dope right there. But yeah, those little habits and stuff like that. That's kind of like what, yeah, for older people, sometimes it'll be those little things. Oh, I have a cigar after dinner every, dinner or whatever. But it's like making it a ritual, these little rituals and stuff.
Yeah.
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 Little thing. That's dope.
Yeah, I think this is probably, I mean, I guess, we're New York based, even though we have like national reach. What do you have to say about New York? I'm sure a lot of people would like to hear your thoughts, coming on.
I love New York. I love the melting pot that's over there. I think cannabis consumption is at a very high over there. I think just like in every market though, they'll get to a point where top shelf is going to be like mainly what's demanded throughout the years. That's what'll happen. But the New York market is responsible for so much weed consumption, flower consumption, and I think it's a huge market. It's growing. I'm going to be there for 420, but I went there last year too. It was just amazing. Like,
oh,
talking
cool.
to all the people.
Yeah, we're doing a block party in Soho, so I'll send you the info.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
Is there anything else you wanted to share or let that we didn't cover?
Not that I can think of, no.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we definitely talked about what you got going on over the next couple of years. Champelli, did you have any?
The hash hole, I mean, if you guys want to mention anything further into that, it's just like it's a big part of my brand. A lot of people know me just for that, unfortunately, but it's a big part of my brand that's leading to a lot of cool collaborations between other companies, from weed companies to clothing companies to hash makers. It's providing a whole new lane for hash makers too. So we're the reason. I like telling people we're the reason for a lot of hash consumption. I think if you take hash holes and donuts out of the figure, about like 40 to 50% less hash is consumed because of it.
Easily, yeah, for sure, definitely. Yeah, and I mean, Fidels it is definitely known for its hash holes, and I feel like it has, it has all these other dynamics too, whether it's clothing and flower as well, and just basically growing the culture, sure, in so many different ways.
You're a great role model too, brother. You've been doing this for such a long time. You put so much care into it. So for what it means, thank you.
Oh, thank you, my brother. I appreciate you for sure. We gotta get together here soon and do another fat meal somewhere,
100%.
Well, you guys had a hash hole collab, right? We have
that was the first one. Yes.
One.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That is epic. We'll cook up another one soon at some point.
Yeah.
Sure.
That was the first collab ever, either of you, for a hash hole?
No,
that was mine. Yeah, that was Michael. That was our first collab. Yeah, my first hash roll actually. That was on the market. Yeah.
Well, those are definitely some of my favorite, like this ever tried.
Yeah, you tried that one too. That's right. Yeah.
Thank you.
I just found a bag with a few of them around, and I smoked one the other day, honestly. And it was like still smoking fire, which is crazy. Like I was like, damn, it is something about like the hash and the flower when it binds, even if it sits for a little while, it's still pretty fire if it's good. Yeah, it does pretty well, realistically. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's like the happiest high. I told you, it just made me like kind of uppity. Yeah.
Nice.
It's so cool to me how some people use them as like celebratory moments or like smoke them on special occasions with people, because I've heard of so many like scenarios. They're like, bro, we smoked this with 4 people. It was so clutch. It was after a hard work day on the field. Like, I'm like, wow, bro. Like, for you guys to remember a smoke session is pretty cool,
Yeah, it's like primo. It's like some of the best there for sure.
I mean, it is, and it burns forever. It's one of those ones like you're getting your money's worth. It like burns for a half hour, an hour. It's like it's almost like its little own party in itself, basically.
Yeah.
Plus, like, how did you guys come up with the kind of glittery sparkle packaging? What was that?
Oh, so another part of the greatness about my brand that I failed to mention, which I always do, but this time I didn't, is that we own all our own printers. We print and package everything in house, from my jars of flour to the hash holes to the R rosin jars to trilogy rosin jars. We do a lot for us and for a few other people in the industry. So what's cool is like my right hand man, Damirdjian, he's responsible for a lot of the products that come out from clothing and packaging. But we've been able to always have a very, very close relationship where I can just, if I need to tweak some artwork, change a color, it's something as simple as having a conversation with someone that I talk to for hours throughout the day, every day. So it's been able to be a big advantage for my brand to be able to bring stuff to market quicker, to executing my vision. And the sparkle that's on the hash roll label, that's something we had early on. We were playing with it.
What?
Yeah.
Eating them for the artist.
I love it.
Like
I love
even
it.
one as simple as that, right? Like just putting a gradient purple on it, but having the sparkle enough to still have that like hash roll factor, right? I just love doing that. Like it's cool.
Awesome.
It's different.
So how did your collaboration come about for this hash roll?
Well, we just, I mean, we've been, bumping into each other over, at different places and through different people. And it was just kind of an inevitable thing, I would say,
Yep.
right? It was kind of
Yep,
like, we
inevitable.
knew we were going to do it. We were just like, we're going to do one here at some point. You know what I mean? We talked about it every time we kind of would see each other, and it finally kind of came together. So.
Yeah, and I let Champelli know too, like it's really batch specific, everything, like he's got to curate his flower, give his thumbs up on his end, and I pair it with the rosin that I give a thumbs up on my end. And we both agree on the packaging too. It's just always keeping our visions aligned. That was the main part of it, We could have quickly rushed into it, but it's just perfecting everything that we do together. And I hope to do so much more with you, bro.
For sure. Likewise. We definitely got to cook up a sick little multi-layered fun collab at some point. Definitely we'll do something dope.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you have the trust of like all the consumers, you know what I mean? I feel like if people see both of your names together, you kind of know you're going to get, like I said, like primo, just great product.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.